Well, good afternoon. Yesterday I took the rear wheels off and figured I'd get this side most of the way done first thing today. I had to run for parts, whatever. But it's looking really good. As part of this video, I'm gonna do everything to this side to the other and show you kind of how I'm gonna get it real pretty as I can get it. But I kind of got to a spot where I really need to see how those shoes go on the other side. So we're going to start pulling this apart because I really need to see how some of those parts are going together. So anyway, let's get set up to start pulling this side apart. So one of the things you want to do, of course, get it up on jack stands, chock the wheels because you're up. The transmission, if it's in two-wheel drive, the only thing you got holding in place is the back because we've got the brakes off. The e-brakes don't engage the fronts. So chock it, jack stands for safety. And then I had hit these a little bit last night to get them hopefully soaking a little bit. The other side came out okay, but hopefully because it was sitting overnight, they'll come out even easier. Oops, I missed one. So, and then put some cardboard down just to keep the oils off of your driveway. My driveway's in pretty sad shape, but I'd rather it not get worse. I think it was an 18 for these calipers. Of course, that line's going to be right in the way, so I can't use the boxed end. The open end I can, though. And that is nice and loose. So that's cool, but I really don't need to do too much other than loosen those, just a little before getting to the ones that mount it. Of course, they're on there pretty good. Let me spin it around. And I like to bust them loose with a rubber mallet. Bust it one way, and then you're looking at it from this side, really, so it'll be this way to loosen it. Yeah, that was a nice satisfying clink. Bust it loose. You can hear all that rust coming down off of there. Very satisfying. Good. And then the bottom one. Let me show you what I'm actually hitting on here. Right. These two bolts, this one right here, and then down lower right here, and that's going to take this whole caliper, this caliper assembly off. Whew. It's warm today. It's not too hot, but it's warm. And once I've got them busted far enough, then I have my my cheapy ratcheting wrench, so we can use that. Still on there pretty good. There we go. And I'm not going to show you, I don't think, like the entire time, the whole, I'll probably fast forward some spots. Like right here, I'm going to put this on speed. All right, so back that out a little bit. Once we get it close, we're going to take this off, and you don't want to put tension on your brake lines. This one's not as nice as the other side, but hopefully it won't break off or anything. I'm going to go ahead and just set it up here on the leaf spring. Before I can do that, I need to take right here where this mounting bracket is right here. I'm going to take that off so I can move that whole thing up on top of that leaf spring. So this side, here's the bolt from the other side. A quick check, make sure I knew what size it was. It's a 1/2 inch for right here. And it looks like I might have hit yesterday with WD-40. Kind of late now, but get on here and ooh, so corroded sometimes you can't get the box end on there. But you can pound the open end over it. There we go. And then this way. You can tell I'm not a mechanic. Sometimes I have to remind myself. I put the right perspective. Talk to yourself about tighty and loosey and whatever else that works for you. I'm gonna let that soak for a minute because it's not coming right away. And we'll give the other bolts time to soak a little bit more on. Cool. Okay. Just a couple minutes, but I'm impatient. And hey, that came pretty easy. I don't know if WD-40 did all the work for me or what, but it seemed easier. There, now it's coming pretty easy. And I can get my other ratcheting wrench. Or I could do a socket. There we go. I love having an excuse to actually use some of these tools that I buy. Of course, I don't buy the expensive one because I gotta buy a Snap-on or something because I don't use them enough to justify that. But toys are nice, and this makes the job a little easier. I could throw a socket on there too. Again, I've got an excuse to use these. I always wanted a ratcheting wrench set. A couple of years ago, I finally got a set, and they're nice. You just don't want to be busting stuff loose with the ratcheting end. Put all that tension on the ratcheting mechanism. All right, so we've got this side off. So now I can pull these caliper bolts off the rest of the way. I had them back most of the way out. I could leave them there, but I'm going to pull them out just so they don't fall wherever and I'll lose them like that. Tried to bounce underneath the box. Alright, so we just lift this caliper. It's going to stick to the rotor. So I'm going to have to jiggle that. Oh gosh, look at that. Chunk of rust fell out. Oh. So we take our caliper and we just kind of set that up where I don't bend the line. Just kind of get it up out of my way a little bit without bending. I might go a little further. Well, I think that's fine. Then sometimes these will be stuck on, but neither one of them has been. Of course, the brakes are all damaged on the inside too, so just slides those off. And oh my goodness, you can see why I'm doing this brake job. So the emergency brakes weren't working and the brakes in general were kind of weak. And oh my. So we've got these shoes, and there actually is a little bit of pad remnant on these shoes, but they're down to the other side was completely gone. A lot of rust in here. So that's going to be fun cleaning that up. But I really want to see what hardware. That was the whole point, seeing what hardware they've got and where, so I can put the new stuff on. And it's so corroded, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see real well. But we'll try. What a disaster. Alright, so you got grooves right here and right here where these shoes kind of clip in there. Let me see if I can just kind of knock that down off of there. There it goes. Oh my goodness. Go back and forth a couple times. And then there's one piece of hardware down here that holds this from popping out. So okay, I know that part though. I already have that installed over there. I'm looking for the other ones. Here's the here is the piece that you would turn to adjust your tension on your brake shoes for your e-brake. And it's just corroded, nasty. But I know about that. There's some clips that came with the hardware kit, and I'm just not seeing where they go. So I'm gonna just put it together best I can and see if I'm missing anything. It looks like there might be something here. You wouldn't be able to see with the camera unless I can get this off. So let's see. Get something to pry with, because I'm gonna try to just pull this off out of the way. Like that. That was easy. Just leverage to get it off of there. Ta-da! So we got that off. And here's that piece I was talking about. And I don't think that's a piece of hardware. I think it's just part of this actual backing plate. Not the dust backing plate, the one that his calipers mount to. Sarge! Sarge! Go lay down. He's not here for us. He's not bringing you treats anyway. The old UPS guy brought you treats, not the new one. Dog, he got conditioned by our old driver. Old driver would bring him treats. Just trying to hold one side and pry the other off there. Put that there. Hold this on this side, maybe. Trying to pinch one side while I pull the other, but get it to the point where it'll slip off without hurting myself. Okay. Oh, come on. So close. That's a lot of dust. I'm getting it out. This makes me wonder how you get the new one in. Oh, that's right. I remember now. I came over the top. Like, so simple. Yeah, it was actually all the way through the pad, it looks like. Just nasty. Ain't no telling when this was done last. Alright, so we got that done. So the next step, now that we can get to them, are these 4 bolts here. Man, that's a lot of rust. A lot. We'll let it soak from that side, and we'll also hit them again. We hit them earlier from this side. And I'm going to throw a little in those other threaded, where the caliper mounts, just to get a little lubricant in there, working on cleaning that rust out. And hit right here, because we're going to be removing this old hardware out of it once we get it all cleaned up. Because we got a lot of cleanup to do, because it's nasty. Alright. I think I had better come back later. At least it's a nice tight fit with that rust. But I'll come back later to bust these loose and remove this hardware. Yeah. Okay, so we've got our caliper cleaned up, and looks like I didn't get these spots, a couple of these spots real perfect, so I can always hit it again just a little bit. Of course, it's not gonna be perfect. I've already hit it with brake cleaner to get any grease off of there so that the paint will adhere. And I'm just using rusty Rust-Oleum. And I did my best not to damage these rubber boots. Should already shook it. Hasn't been that long. Anyway, light coats are best, they say. Tend to agree. Wish I didn't have this attached. I could get to the other side real easy, but I haven't painted here yet, so I can just turn it. Oop, a little heavy there. Well, that'll happen. Hey, it's used. Most people would never go to this much trouble. That looks pretty good, and now I haven't touched the underside yet with paint, so I can turn it and look again the other way. And since I don't care that much, I'm going to actually go ahead and maybe tip this. I'll just flip it over. Whatever! I can touch it up later if I really care that much. Trying to get too heavy, but enough that the neutralizer in here can do what it's supposed to do on the rust, and then the top coat will adhere. But I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll wait a little bit and then hit it with some black. So if you're reading your products like you're supposed to, you discover some interesting things. And this one says for dry and recoat times, to handle in 1 to 2 hours, apply a top coat within an hour, or you have to wait 24 hours for best results. So make sure, basically, as soon as this thing's dry here, probably 10 minutes tops in these weather conditions, is about 80 degrees, not too humid. So probably another few minutes, I'll be able to go ahead and apply the top coat, my yellow here. And yeah, so read your cans. I don't always do that, and sometimes I make boo-boos. And then dry to touch isn't the same thing as cured and able to withstand scratching very easily, even if it's an enamel or something like that. But for my purposes, if I hit a little scratch on it as I'm assembling, which I'm sure I will, I can touch that up or not, whichever. I believe in full disclosure, so you can actually see some of the yellow bleeding through. I didn't wait for it to dry. I mean, it doesn't matter, there's paint on it, it'll dry, but I was gonna do yellow on the calipers, and it wasn't turning out real well, so I just hit over with black. But there she is, all reassembled. If I can get around back here, probably hit that with a little black paint back there too, where it's clean. The rest of it can stay nasty looking, because it's still nasty. But everything on this side of that brake dust cover on the back is like new, refurbished, or brand new. So yeah, it's a vast improvement. Of course, that's still to be determined. It's got to make the thing go stop. So we'll see. So kept working on the other side, putting it back together while waiting for this side to hopefully get some soaking in, and I can get back to what I was working on, which was getting these busted loose. First attempt here. Oh man. Got the box end. They're on there. Haha. that sense of victory when you bust a good rusty nut loose. Ooh, that one, when it gave, it hit me. Look at the rust just crumbling off of it. Gotta knock the rust off just so I can get the socket on it. There it goes. Well, hopefully there's enough. Nope, there's not enough left on that one to even do it that way. Oh, too rusted. Get a little more leverage. You can use the box end of a wrench. If you can keep it straight. Is that on it?
Yeah. Don't we have a pipe somewhere?
Oh!
Oh!
Boom!
All day.
Boom! Oh, yeah. My crazy idea worked. Now, the torch might have helped, too. And all that soaking. It was a team effort with all the different ideas. But what was the one that finally got it done?
Who knows?
Drill a hole through the head, stick something strong enough through there, and then get leverage.
All right, let's see you do the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Now that it's gonna bottom out.
I'm so happy. I'm just so happy it turned. I'm so happy. YouTube fans and people that have never seen my channel before. This is me as happy as I ever get.
And y'all, he probably didn't watch a single YouTube video on how other people fix this and got it done.
That's cheating. That's cheating. When I do, though, I do admit that I actually had to let somebody else do it. I have some experience taking bolts and screws out. Trained. And then just things that have worked for me over the years. But
is it loose enough you can use this janky thing now underneath?
No, actually, it's loose enough now. I could probably just use a vice grip. I'd say a crescent wrench, but the head's so messed up I need the extra grip. So, oh, the brake job. I don't want to count my
eggs before they're
hatched or whatever, but I mean, y'all saw it move. Yeah. Oh. So the brake job can finally get back underway after legit
all day,
6 hours at least.
If you were a mechanic, you'd be broke.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a mechanic, but I can't afford to pay a mechanic. So you just persistence. So now we can get back to cleaning this all up, right? So let's see if it bumps loose easy enough. So by hand, oh, I didn't even need the hammer. I've been beating on it enough. And if you look close, the old dust plate is still here. That's it right there. It's crumbling off of there. That was all that was left of the old dust plate right there. The other side was the same way. There's just nothing left to it. So I'm going to peel that off, and we've got a new one, split version that goes on it like this, rather than having to take this whole axle out, which I was starting to think I'd have to do to get on that bolt. Ooh. So, but I'm keeping this piece. I mean, it's rusty, but it's robust enough that it'll be fine. Where's my beat up chisel? Oh, you poor chisel. I'm still going to use you, though. So I can take off that old dust plate. What's left of it. Come on. Get in there. It says I'm not sharp anymore. You've been pounding with me. Oh my goodness. This thing. Rust. Ooh, there it goes. Yeah. Here's the dust plate. Don't. Cut that out. There. This is all that's left of the dust cover. Let me show you what it looked like originally. So this is what the original would have looked like. I got these before I knew that there was a split type and I wouldn't have to take the axles out. This is what the dust cover looks like. This is what's left of the one that completely rusted out from my truck. Yep. Basically just this little piece here that's squeezed between those two pieces. Wonderful. Okay. So I've been hitting around with the wire brush. Some of the bigger stuff I knock off with just a chisel. If it's on there, I'll leave it. And the Rust-Oleum primer will do its job neutralizing it. But I did see, oops, yeah, I've got another piece of hardware right down here. This little clip. Let's see if this one comes off easy. Man. Should have taken that off before I loosened this, or forgot to hit record again. So I'm taking this little retaining clip off of this, I guess you'd call it a backing plate, and I turned it and it just sheared the little bitty bolt head right off. Just sheared it right off. That's great. So fortunately, well, still not at a great angle, but I should be able to drill that out. At least the clip comes off. But I got to get that bolt out of there now. Bolt that broke off right here. I can't get on it straight enough to drill it out. I got it actually probably far enough that I could use a screw extractor, but with it at an angle it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to drill it out and then tap it maybe from the back side. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see. But first of all, I just got to get this thing out of here. And of course, everything's so hard to see because you're pinched in between everything. You can only get one eyeball on it, so your depth perception's junk. Hey, Sarge. I think I'm on it there. Can't really tell. I have a solution. I've got a self-tapping metal screw. Now it's intended to go through thinner stuff, but not really cast, but maybe. I mean, it's already the right size to go through the hardware, and it'll sit fine inside the brake assembly. Question is, will it go on here the way I want it to? So this goes like this, or does it? No. Oh yeah, like this. In case I can't get it back out, I'll just mount it on there. So, and then can I even tighten it in here? All right, so it'll go in the hole. A little too easy probably, because it's not having to cut its way in. Let me see if this even works. Probably won't. Oh, I got a little bite. Will I break it? It's gotta be just kind of in between, close enough to bite, not too tight that it'll break off. I'm getting some really good feel, like it's grabbing nicely. I'm going slow because I don't want to just shear it off. Basically, the little threads on it are digging into the wall of the hole. This is wonderful. It's actually bit real good. That ain't going anywhere, and it doesn't stick out the back into anything that'll hurt anything. Yay! So yeah, I don't know if you can see that at all. Right here, that is not the one that came with the kit, but it's gonna work. By golly. So I've gotten most of the rust off of this, but I need to get all the oils off before I give a little touch-up spray paint. So just douse it with brake cleaner. Preferably without getting it all over my camera. Start from the back and work our way back out. After I already worked on the outside. This is a Band-Aid. This is, I'm not going to turn it into a new truck, but if it holds the rust off just a little longer, that's fine by me. All right. The face, and as I'm putting it back together, it's going to scratch a lot of it up. But it'll be better than it was. Especially since the way it was, it wasn't working at all. You know. So check this out. Rather than having to pull the axle to get a new dust cover on, I think it's pronounced Dorman is the brand. They make this two-piece, and it took me forever, like several minutes, to figure out how to put it on the other side. So let's see if I can figure it on this side, because they're reversed on whatever side you're on with these rear brakes. This is still a little, oh, that's grease. I was going to say the paint's still wet, but it's just grease on the back side. So we're going to pull this back, and actually it could use a little spray. Then I can kind of figure out how to put that on again. So put that there out of the way, and yeah, this piece will go like so. Yeah, because it's the opposite of that side. And I actually won't be able to get everything done because, if you recall, I kind of destroyed the heck out of one of the bolts getting it out. So, but I still have a couple of good bolts, so I can get it mocked up, and then it'll just wait for me to get more bolts. So, if I can remember, so I got this big opening here, and that's going to go right here where that piece pushes out with the emergency brake cable. So it's going to go this way, but it's kind of, you'll see it's a pain. You get out of my way. You're going to slide in like, see, here we go again. I'm forgetting. I'm going to look at the other side. It's supposed to go in like this. But with this thing kind of sort of in the way, it's not the easiest task. I forget how I got around this piece. I was successful, but it was not easy. Maybe I twisted it around it like that, and then pulled it over. I really don't remember. And looking at the other side wouldn't really tell me how I did it, because that's just going to show me the finished product. Oh no! See, I got to put a tab through right here. Try and do that, and I lost it. Okay, that's in. Oh, for crimini's sake. Now, because of the tab, it's not wanting to line up. I'll have to bend it once it's on there. But there. Now, where do I want to put this one? I guess I'll put one on each of these to hold them in. Only got 2 good bolts. For your e-brake, the drum, got this hardware here, and since you'll be putting fresh everything presumably on, new pads, shoes, whatever, you're going to turn that in all the way down. Don't tighten it, but it should be all the way down. That'll let you get the shoe over it, which I'll show you here in a second. And then over time, as those shoes wear out, it'll adjust automatically, or should, or you can reach through that little plug in the back to adjust it, to tighten it back up. So we're gonna let it set there. The paint's actually still wet. I don't even care. But that does make it a little bit tighter, kind of back to original, because you know all that corrosion, you lost some material. On the opposite side, you've got this little guy. Before you can put that in, however, you're gonna drop that piece, the e-brake piece, right back in there, and then this goes through it like so. And then to make sure it's in there, you can pull on the back and it shouldn't pull out. And then you're going to turn these so that your shoe fits around it. So you can see it's going to be like this. So these should be basically at a vertical, like that. And a couple new pads, and they were sitting in the sun, and they're so hot, actually smells like, you know how when you're running down the road behind somebody whose brakes are failing? That's what it smells like. Hopefully it's not your brakes that are failing, right? So got my caliper here, and let me grab my new hardware, and I gotta remember it goes this away, and there it just clips down in there. Come on, oop, don't bend it the wrong way. You are not that difficult on the other side. Unless this one's supposed to be on that side. I don't remember. All right. Well, I send you some grease, so as those slide on it, they don't make so much noise. Let me get that grease. Let's put my knee down right on top of a piece of gravel. A little bit of this grease on there. That might help a little bit with the squeaking, supposedly. All right. Now we also have these guys. And these guys go on this part. And so it's better if you do it right away so you don't forget. This is going to go right in there. It's the only way that makes sense. I guess they kind of dummy proof it for me. So that one goes on that side. And you got another one for the other side. They just kind of push and clip in like that. That looks nice. And then we put these back together. We get that in there. And you get your pads. And if you got some more grease, I'm almost out. I put too much on the other side. There, a little bit left. You can put that on the grooves that these pads slide into. Top and bottom. Might have just enough left. Just to get a little in there. There. And your pads are gonna slide super easy, I'm sure, right into place. Because that's what I want them to do. So the little tabs down there, you got to push those down and then it slides in. There we go. And then the same thing for the other side. Oh, there it goes. And it's I put it in backwards. It does help if the pad is toward where the rotor will be. Wow. Hopefully you got a good laugh out of that one. All right. So yeah, your pads face each other because they're going to clamp down on your rotor once you get this back on here. But we're not ready for that yet because we still have parts. Or, well, really just a bolt. A bolt here. The drum shoe to put in, and then we can bolt it on. Yep. So we're at a standstill for now until I get a replacement bolt.
Here we are, day 50.
Our new bolt.
On day 50 of getting this done.
Kind of feels like that. Let's see if this is the correct bolt. Oh, it's threading in like it's correct. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I sent my sister, right, camera lady?
Mm-hmm.
I sent my sister in with my wife, who's currently the camera lady. Well, no. Not the right bolt. From O'Reilly. And we got, I think, camera lady, what do you think? We think we got the right bolt.
Maybe.
We line them up, the threads lined up perfectly. It's a little longer than we need, but it should be okay. And it's just the two of us tonight. It's our date night. So we're going to do what I think the common person does on date night, right? We work on the truck, we have some steak, and then we watch some TV and relax, right?
Sure.
Is that what most couples do?
Maybe.
On their date night? Alright, so that's getting going. A few minutes, we'll throw the steaks on there. They're already done up in there. You'll get a look at them. We'll make sure we include that in the video. Right, camera lady?
Yep.
Alright, let's go. So, we think we have the right bolt now, but it was longer. They had a really shorter one and then a longer one. And I'm like, that's okay. I'll just, you know, cut it off if I have to. Sure enough, can you get the camera up here, babe? I got to go here, and I can't get it in there. So I'm going to have to cut this off now. Wonderful. That's what a cut-off wheel in an angle grinder with a vise is for. Yep. Whew. All right. So it's about the thickness of my forefinger. Right about sure. If I got a little short, that's okay. So I'm like, I can't find my pliers. Pliers are in the mess somewhere. I'll just wait for it to cool off. And my wife says, well, there's a hot pad right out here. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, grab it for me. So she grabs it, and I'm reminded of something about fitting and not fitting and a quitting or something.
It's the kid's hot pad.
So we'll just flip this guy. Ooh, that's hot. Flip this guy around and go the rest of the way through. Hit it. Ta-da! Started to hop on me. They look good already, don't they? They're not even cooked. They look good. I mean, if I was a wild animal, I would be happy to eat that just as it is. Get close so you can hear the sizzle. That was unimpressive. I could hear it, but it wasn't like super loud. Disappointing. Ooh, hot. All right. Steaks on. So the threads are a little damaged. Using this chisel, just kind of push them back apart and fling that burr in the right direction. And maybe it'll grab hold now. It just has to get going. And it'll just recut or get recut, one or the other. You don't know if you want to use the boxed end sometimes or the open end. I really wanted my ratcheting wrench, but I'm too lazy to go get it. I was just right there by it, but I didn't think to. All right, so we're finally back. All 4 bolts are in, torqued down, and it's time to put the brake shoe on. Remember, if I can remember how to do this, I think you're supposed to stick that end in and then get it like around as far as you can. I feel like I did it better on the other side. Gotta be some trick that I'm not aware of. I'll just spread them out a little bit, I guess, and that'll pop it over, question mark. Somebody's laughing at me out there. Or yelling at me like, don't do it that way. So close though. Like, if you just use something for leverage to pop it over. Now somebody's screaming, no, not that. Hey. And it doesn't appear to have broken it or anything, so that's good. Now there's a clip. That clip that I put right here, wait, right here, there we go. But this is going to feed underneath that. That'll hold it on place, or in place. So I'll slip it behind there. And then up on this side, yep, there it went behind there. And on this side, you just push these together. And one side at a time. Leverage again, maybe. Pop it up over. Come on. Slide it right into that slot. Tap it in. A little tap-tap-a-rooney. A little Happy Gilmore going on. Oh, it's crooked. My little slot is just a little off. What do I have? What do I have to slide that over? I'm hurting myself. Yeah, I don't want to do that. My chisel. Maybe my chisel will work. Yeah, it gives me a little more reach. I can just tap that over. Perfect. Popped right in. Check on the bottom, make sure I'm in position. Slide that up. What's up? Oh, the bolt? The bolt? Yeah. I had to drill through the head sideways. I'll show it to you later. We're in reassembly mode. We're actually in reassembly mode finally. Yeah. All right. Here we go. One last look in there, make sure I have everything. Yep, looks good. And this will barely slip inside. The other side I actually had to tap it on. I'll have to adjust it later. But it should be nice, kind of snug. Slide right over those shoes. I want to break my shoes here. Just gently tap it over. This side looks like it's out too far this way. So just, handwork's actually pretty good. Just to bop it over, get it lined up. That looks much better. Tight, but even on both sides at least. Just barely get it on one side, barely on the other. Kind of alternate back and forth. That's going harder than the other side. Everything on this side's been harder than the other side, which is perfect because I was recording this side. Look at my rubber mallet. Okay. Back and forth. Or walk it around. You don't want to hit it too hard because you can break the shoe. Just enough to keep it sliding. And there, it stopped going back. Beautiful. Now we can put the caliper on. And those stakes are just about done. Let's see if this slides over. It does. Oh, that's so nice. And they're actually, there's not a lot of play there. So those will catch real quick when I apply the brakes. Put these two caliper bolts back in. I'm just going to start getting them tight, and then I'm going to go eat because I am starving. And those steaks are really looking good. Tell you what, I'm going to get these two just started here. They're not going anywhere. Let's go walk over and take a look. Let's take a look. There's my sister's car here. Let's take a look at these steaks. Oh yeah, a little. I like them well done. I think. Hot. They're probably done. That looks good. Yeah, that's good stuff. Get it? There you have it. It is served. Taters, steak, salad, with a side of a brake job. Finish tightening these up. And then I'll make sure that these are tight. And then we'll be to adjustment mode. It's tightened down but not torqued. It's just made contact. And I do the other one, make contact, and then I'll torque them. And when I say torque them, I mean German specs. All right, so made contact. Grab my non-ratcheting, and I'll usually just get it to where I can't do it on big bolts like this, and then give it a 2 or 3 little wraps. Come on, grab a hold. Tight-ish, and then a few wraps. And then come back here. I don't think this was an 18. Nope. What was it? Oh, what was it? I can just use a crescent wrench, I guess. All right, so another thing you don't want to forget is to put your bracket back on there. Your brake line bracket back on. I'm just tightening it down. Got it on, just tightening it down. And then another thing that I forgot, and unfortunately, I'm not taking this all back together because these little boots that go on the back of the drum brake, I just got one boot here. Now stuff can get in elsewhere, but it's good if you can get this on there. I'm not going to pull it back apart. Anyway, that piece that sticks through where those two come apart to push the shoe out to meet the drum, that piece that comes through, before you put that through, put this on the back so you can push it through there. Again, I'd have to take the whole thing back apart at this point. So I'll save that for if I remember, maybe next time I rotate the tires, because I'd have to take the caliper back off, the drum rotor combo off, and actually I'd have to pull, or I'd have to slide, I suppose, the shoe down off of where it expands there. So I'm not going to do that. I've at least got a dust shield now. I didn't even have that before. So this is a huge improvement, but if I want to do it right, if this was somebody else's truck, I'd be pulling it back apart to get that in there for them to do it right. Anyway, what's left is right back here, right there in that slot, there's that serrated turn wheel. And I'm going to see if I need to adjust it. And the way I'm going to do that is by applying the parking brake on, off, on, off, on, off a few times. Because I'm not sure on this model if it's self-adjusting or not, but some of them are. So I'm going to apply, release, apply, release. And then when it released, I should be able to easily turn these rotors. I should be able to turn the axles. So if I'm able to do that, we're good to go. Throw the wheels back on, and then I'll actually take it for a test drive and make sure that everything responds properly. And then I might still need to come back here and adjust some more afterwards. So I'm going to do a couple things. Now that I'm almost done, I want to double check things. I'm going to check my brake master cylinder under the hood to make sure my fluid's at a good level. I'll do that again once I've run it down the road a couple times. Right now it's good. And I've already done this, but I'm just going to show you how I did it anyway. I'm sure there's a mechanic out there that's got a proper technique. This works for me though. I'm going to put the parking brake on. First of all, it should have decent pressure. And then I'm going to put it in reverse. I'm going to let off the brake. I shouldn't budge. It holds. Do the same thing in first gear, not drive. First gear, not in drive, should be in first, whatever. Let go, it should hold, it does. I'm going to find a hill somewhere and do that too. Then I'm going to put it in drive with the parking brake off. Roll, apply the regular brake, it should stop abruptly. Same thing in reverse. Let it roll a little bit, stop it abruptly. We're good. So that was a big job done, especially for me. I'm not a mechanic. But if you're somewhat mechanically inclined and you have time, a place to work, and maybe you've got some tools. And here's the thing, if you didn't have all the tools, doing a job like that yourself will save you enough money that you would have afforded to buy the tools. Then you'll be that much more prepared for the next job. So if you're into this sort of thing, if it's a good hobby for you, by all means, I encourage you to do it. It's very fulfilling, very satisfying to be able to finish a job, know it was done right, or in this case, almost right. The only thing I don't have is that little rubber plug, and I'm okay with that. But there are shortcuts that other people might have taken that you wouldn't know if you had it hired done. So, and they wouldn't have taken the time to paint it up, you know, take a bunch of the corrosion off, that sort of thing. Take a little more pride. It looks great. The truck doesn't, but take that wheel off, you're like, wow, somebody took their time and did a good job. So anyway, this video has run extremely long. If you stuck around that whole time, or if you jumped around and you liked any of it, I try to be as honest as I possibly can, show you at least a little bit of the screw-ups I make along the way, and maybe some encouragement that the average person can do some of their own work themselves. Anyway, have a good one.